I own a fair amount of spinners here, not as much as some people, but definitely more than most. And I can by far say that this Grimsmo spinner is my favorite, hands down. And I'm going to go through this review and explain to you why that is. So first I'm going to talk about the spinability of it. The spin time of it clocked in around 4 minutes, which normally that's not especially impressive, but this is a very light spinner. If I had a scale I would show you, but it's about the same weight, if not lighter, than the Stubby Light. It's about the same weight as this Infinite Spin Neutron, and it's definitely much lighter than the Torque Bar. So that 4 minute spin is respectable, but as I say in all of my videos, spin time doesn't really matter that much because, let's be honest, you're not going to sit here for 4 minutes and just doing this. You're going to be stopping it and starting again, but I just think it's important to note to show the quality. Another way to check the quality on this, which this one has a good is high quality, is you can just spin the button and see how long the button spins. With some of the lesser quality ones, it will stop in like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that. This one will go on for quite a while, which shows that how clean the bearings are. I mean, you spin something like this, and I can already feel it coming to a stop. Yeah, there we go. It stopped. And so you can tell this is just, good quality from that. Also, the shape makes it very spinnable. Not just the speed and the quality of the bearings, but because of the design, this very narrow design, it makes it really hard to mess up your spin whenever you stop at mid-spin. Something, let's say even like the Torque Bar or the Stubby, sometimes whenever you spin it and you go in there, you can fumble around, and whenever you go to flick it, you can flick this top part and your thumb will slide right off, and it will kind of just slow down the spin instead of change directions or carry the momentum. The same thing can happen with the Stubby. But because of how narrow it is and because of how little surface area the top part of the spinner has, it's really difficult to mess up the spin and to hit that top part of the spinner. So I think that that's a great thing. It makes it really easier and makes it a lot more fun to spin than all my other spinners, because you don't have to worry about messing it up. You just spin it. The size is really nice. I will say with this one, it's a little longer than I was expecting. I'm just going to compare it here to the Torque Bar and the Stubby, because these are kind of standards, and you can see that the Grimsmo is a little bit longer than the two of them, and that can result. I've kind of adjusted my grip because of this, but sometimes whenever you continue to go spin it like this, if you have your fingers sticking out too close, then right now the spinner's hitting my finger and it's coming to a quick stop. And so that's just something you need to keep in mind. Right now it's hitting my finger still, so I just have to kind of adjust my spinning. But it is a little longer than most, so it is possible for your fingers to get in the way and to stop the spinning. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not that it's too long, it's just that because I'm used to spinning smaller ones, that I just need to adjust my grip. Another reason that makes this such a joy to spin is the buttons. Two reasons on the buttons. First off, let's take a look here. You can see that they have a nice checkering pattern on the buttons, which first off, it feels really nice. Like, I don't know why it would feel better than smooth buttons, but it almost does. Maybe just knowing that that's really nice checkering, because just look at it real quick. That's quality checkering. It's really beautiful, honestly. So just knowing that whenever you're grabbing it is nice, but also it gives you a little bit of grip, because I've mentioned this on my Torque Bar one, that the buttons are not my favorite for two reasons. One, they're a little close together, which I'll talk about on the Grimsmo in a second, but also because it's kind of slick and it's not super dished. So whenever I'm spinning, I've dropped this a ton of times. I almost dropped it right now, actually, right after I said that, just because The buttons are very smooth, and it can come out of your hand if you do a really hard spin. But the Grimsmo I almost said the Grimsmo Norseman. The Grimsmo spinner kind of prevents that with the little grip it gives you. And another reason I like them so much is it's nice and thick. It's you compare it to the torque bar, you can see that it's much thicker than torque bar. It's not quite as thick as some of the Infinity spins, but it's definitely nice and comfortable, and I don't feel like I'm pinching my fingers together, and it's not in an uncomfortable position. Sometimes I get that feeling with the torque bar, I'll be honest. Since it's so close together, sometimes I'll feel a little uncomfortable just grabbing it and spinning it. But I don't feel that at all with the Grimsmo spinner, because they have a nice distance there. So I'm going to talk about the internals now, specifically. First off, let me screw this back on real quick. It's got good tolerances with the buttons. Not the best. You can see it's got a little bit of wiggle right there. It's honestly about the same as the torque bar. About the same as the stubby. A little less than the infinite spins. But it's decent. It's pretty good. Well, I won't say decent. It's good. It's really good. But I've seen a little better out there. I think with the stubby tie that I had was a little bit better in that aspect. But the spinning, or the quality on the bearings, is really well done. First off, just look on the inside of these thumb pads. This is one of the reasons I like the Grimsmo so much. They just put little Grimsmo knives 2017. Not that hard to do, and not everyone will see it, but I think it's a really nice touch, and I really like knowing that that's in there. So here you can see the bearings in the spinner. I believe they are ceramic. This is the only part outsourced by Grimsmo's. They've done everything else to the spinner. The only thing that they didn't do was assemble the bearings. But there is no slack, there's no wiggle in the bearings. I've had some spinners where, sorry, plane's flying overhead. Sorry about that. I have some spinners where the bearing cages, kind of wiggle a little bit, but this one is in there nice and tight, so no problems there. Everything is finished really nicely. The construction is all titanium, I shouldn't say all titanium. The body is titanium. The weights are always brass. The buttons can either be titanium or brass. This is the the standard titanium. They do have titanium green and titanium blue, and then they have brass buttons. But that attributes to the lightness, and titanium is a quality material. I like knowing my spinner is made out of titanium instead of steel or some random alloy. So another thing I want to talk about is the materials, is what's done with them. You can see the buttons are really nicely polished. I really like that. I prefer that to just a machine finish look. It shows that they put time and effort into making it, they put time and effort into the finish. The rest of the body is stonewashed, it appears. You can see mine's dirty. It's got some lint in the holes there that they've milled. What I really like also is I really like that they put the little Norseman on the weights. It makes I think that this is perfect, brand placement. You have zero tolerance knives that on the pocket clip of the knife or on the blade it just says zero tolerance in big bold letters. I like that the Grimsmos don't do that. They just do a simple touch, and I really like the logo that they have. It's pretty much the same one as what's on their pivot. The one on the pivot though doesn't have the swords behind it, but I really like that. I think that it's a great touch. I've already talked about the size. It makes it very carryable. It makes it very easy to fit in your pockets and stuff. The last major thing I wanted to talk about is sound. This isn't the quietest spinner. It's right around the same sound as the torque bar. Less, in my opinion, than the stubby, but not quite as quiet as some of the infinite spins. But definitely no noise maker here, no rattle. I've had, like I mentioned before in a couple other videos, my stubby titanium was too loud for me to carry and use because it was distracting everyone. This one's nice and quiet. It's not going to be distracting anyone, so you don't have to worry about that when you get this spinner. So the last thing I want to talk about is the Grimsmos. These are great, guys. I mean, they have a YouTube channel. I would definitely recommend checking it out. They have a video talking about these spinners, so if you want to see how they're made and the process of him making them, you can go ahead and check his check the YouTube channel out, and he has a video on it. And that's what really sold me on these spinners, because I really like spinners and I love the Grimsmos. And I was going to get one anyway, but then whenever I saw the video, I was like, yes, I definitely have to get one. But basically it's two brothers, John and Eric. John is the machinist. He's the one that runs the CNC and the lathe, and he makes all these parts. He'll just get raw titanium and brass, and he makes it into something awesome. And then there's Eric, who's the guy that does all the finishing work, both on the spinners and on the knives. So they make a really nice team, and like I said, watching their videos, they're really cool guys, and they're my favorite company out there. Knife company, spinner company, whatever, they're my favorite, just because they're cool guys. They excel in all that they make. John is a overachiever, and Eric likes having his finishing just right, so they make great products every time, and I would definitely recommend getting this spinner. If I had to choose one spinner in my collection, it would be between this and the torque bar, and I think even though the torque bar is my first, and I take pride in owning the first spinner there ever was, I think I'd have to choose the Grimsmo. The price on these varies, I think, slightly. I think the one with brass buttons is $140. This one's $150, but like I said, I think these are the best spinners out there. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Definitely, if you like this, drop a comment, like, and subscribe for more content, and I will catch you all in the next video.